Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Deepak Patil, and let's continue with some new concept. So today we will learn about the symphony controller. Yes, in the big project, yeah, I know we have to work with the lots of controllers. So right now we will just learn the basic flow of the controller. So when user send a request from the browser and until user will see some response, so what will be happen in the single round trip, just we will learn the basic thing. But yes, when you work on the live project, you will work too much with the controller. So let's check what is the controller. So the controller in the Symfony is just a class and function where it accept the request object and then generate the response object. So response object that we send back to the user, that can be with the different content type. For example, we can send that as a HTML, we can send that as a JSON, we can send that as a XML, or we can send that as a file, or redirect one request to the another request, or redirect to the some external URL or some full URL, or send with the some error or exception. So this is just a controller. So to understand the structure of controller, let's see. In the last video we have created the block controller. The structure of the controller is something like that. So the controller file will be the normal class in the PHP, follow the namespace with the app controller. So while app controller, we also added the, remember, we also added the configuration in the route. So it will be looking all the route in the this path with the namespace app controller. So also when we define the attribute type as a definition of route, this will be act as a URL. So we can access that by the URL. So it's a class. Yeah, after namespace we have a imported the services, external services that we use, and then class, and then controller name, and this extend with the abstract controller. We can also create the without abstract controller, but define that as a service, and then mention the tag as a controller. But if we use the abstract controller, we can able to use this. These are the these are the helper method that we can use. So get parameter, read data from the parameter, from the variable file, generate URL, forward, redirect to another URL, redirect to another route, JSON file, then flash, we can add that flash, we can check user, so it's a check render, we can render it. So these are the number of helper functions that already created in the abstract controller, and we can reuse that. Okay, so because of that, basically we generate the controller by extending the abstract controller. Then yes, this is the function name, that is normal function in the any PHP class, and this is the definition of the route, and based on the definition we can access this controller with the URL pattern. So this is the structure of the basic controller. So how to generate controller? So we use the maker bundle. That is the smart move to use the maker bundle. So let's create the new controller. So make a controller. I can put the controller name, or when if I am not putting any parameter and enter, the console will be ask me. So just use the product controller as a controller name and just enter. So when I enter that, it's create the two files. One file is a PHP file, PHP class. It's a controller with the definition of the route, and also create the template. So we can see that the template is also create here. So okay, so let's create that, and then just try to call it. Come on, in that content, just try to access this controller and then check what will happen. Okay, so our output is here that we added here. So this is how we can generate the new controller. Now what is the next? How we can generate the URLs in the controller. Let's check. Suppose I want to generate the URL for any particular route, about a page that we added the last time. page URL. So it just generate the it just generate the URL from the route, and we have to mention the route name, something like that. This is how we can generate the, because for the debug purpose, let's print what is the value printed over here. Let's check that. So we have a URL created for the about us. Now suppose we have also another route where we use the dynamic variable, something like that. So let's try to create the route for that. So this of generate URL, and then I will mention the name as a route name, and then I will just pass the parameter. Okay, so those parameter is array, so it will be, we have to exact use the same name that we use here. Okay, so id equal to 1. Let's check that what will be the URL created. So echo just separate that URL by 12. So this is the URL with the block that created. So this is how we can generate the URL in the controller. So for that we have a generate URL helper function created in the abstract class. Yeah, this is the routing. So it's internally use the container and then render the URL. So this is how we can generate the URL. So what is the next? So next is, suppose I want to redirect to the another route. For example, when I want to add new product, and after add new product, that should be redirect to the another. So let's explore this example, but for that we have to create a product controller or those things. So we have a doctrine video in the next couple of chapters, so we can learn a deep with those sessions about this. So right now our goal is to learn the basic flow of the controller. So let's continue use existing routes to redirect. So I want to redirect. So when someone hit the product your route, I want to redirect that to the another. So let's check that. So I'm going to comment this line, so we can return to the piece of redirect to route. So I have to just mention the URL, and when I just refresh it, see, that will be automatically redirect to the another page. Then same another example is with the parameter. So I want to redirect that to the another route that having some parameter. Then just pass the parameter like that, and I am sure that will be redirect to the blog page. Okay, see, it will be redirect to the back blog page with the one, because I mentioned that one, and it's read from the database, and we can see the product name here. So this is how we redirect the route. Then suppose I want to redirect it to the another. So normally I would like to explain live example of that. So when we work with the payment gateway, and after click on the payment button, it redirect to the, we have to create the URL and it redirect to the PayPal. So that that we have to do. So for that you can generate the URL, something like that. So this is my URL. Okay, that I want to redirect to the done, and then it should return just redirect to any URL. So let's check that if it is working or not. So after hit this, that should be the product that we created. See, it will be redirected to the PayPal. So if we want to redirect to the any route, then redirect to route, this is the helper function that we can use. If we want to redirect to any URL, then we can use the redirect. Then next is how to render the template. So to render the template, we have a two-way, and we have some couple of requirements. For example, we have to render the normal template, so we use the render helper function, and in the render helper function we have to use the path where the template is. So this is my path from the template product and index, and when we run this, that will be that will be render the whatever the information in the template, whatever the HTML in the template, that will be rendered as a HTML and sent as a response. So this is how we can render the any twig file, okay, twig template, and render is a helper function created in the abstract class. Now I want to create the command, that is the console command or whatever the code or service that will be just read the HTML and then send that as a email. So how we can do that? So just email dot html dot twig. Suppose I have this template, okay. So yeah, I think that is already exist. Okay, so suppose this email, this is the content. Thank you for contact us. Okay, so suppose I want to call this HTML. So HTML equal to $piece of render view. Okay, so there are lots of render function, but I suggest just focus on the basic. And when we spend more time with the Symfony, you will get the more and more as per the requirement. So let's check what is the, let's pass this HTML, to UI, and print it. Let's check what will be in the dump. Okay, you can check that. See this email content for, so this is read from the email. So this is how we can render render template as a string, HTML string, and use in our logic. So to rendering the template, we have right now two functions. One render helper function that will be render the template, as well as create the response object and that return to the user, or render view, where we can render the some email templates or some components, render that as HTML and use that in your logic. So these are the two way we can. There are other render block, but I think I suggest just focus on this function. Okay, just focus on this and then go. Then how to use services, as we already know how to add the custom service. We already added one service in the last session. So let's check that which service we added. Yeah, we have already added this service, route URL generate service. So this is the third party service, and let's check and learn how to add that in the controller. So this is the custom service. So let's check first the custom service, and then later we can try to import any existing service for the demo. Okay, so as my intelligence is not working, I'm going to add that, like that will be automatically. Yes, okay, yeah. So this is how we can, let's check URL equal to get URL, and then I will put some name. So it's just a service that call the function. I just pass the whatever the parameter that required to that function and just try to print here. So let's check that what will be printed here. See, we have a purpose URL. So this is how we can include the any third party service. But let's try to import the service that is already in the auto rewrite. Okay, so I just try to let's add the logger. Okay, and this is the weird way, but logger. Okay, so okay, so we can put that as a debug. So yeah, this is my way to log. So when I see the log, I can understand in which class and in which function it's printed. So HTML content that's we send is HTML. Okay, so l minus n have, and let's open the log file here. and try to render it. Okay, so let's check that. See, we have HTML content. This is the email content. So this logger is a service. That service we use as a that service we add as a parameter to the controller and then use it. This is how we can add the use the services. Okay, so this is the command. Yes, this command we have to run to see the list of the all automatically. Somehow when I use this service here over here, that will be automatically clean my disconnect my terminal. So we can do that later once at the end when we finish with the other concept. Then next is a error and exception. Suppose I want some logic where I want to send some not found, for example blog. Okay, so this is a blog. So let's create the one more like it, blog detail, and then id, then blog get blog detail. So integer id I use the same way. Then let's fetch it. Okay, we have to also add the repository as a parameter. Let's add that. It's always good to organize your code properly. Okay, so block repository is already used there. We'll add something like that. Okay, so that should be camel case. H find by id. Okay, so if this blog is not exist, then we can send some instance of blog. So if it not exists, so it means that it will be written null. So throw new access denied exception. Okay, or it's better to use the create not found exception. Not found exception. So log not found. Okay. So the logic, just try to understand why we are using the exception. So basically when I pass the id, that should be written fetch the blog database blog detail from the database. If that does exist, then only then that will be send the, let's check that exception. First of all, what is happening? We have that already. Oh, okay, so okay. But we just change the URL. So let's check the, let's use the new URL, blog detail instead of blog. Okay, so this is the my blog. Even I can able to see the, but what if I enter the parameter that is not exist in the database, so blog not found. So this is how we can handle the exception in our code. We can use these or throw new access denied exception when user is not authorized, or throw new exception. If we don't know what to do, then create the exception. So let's check what will be better. Okay, not from simple exception. So this is how we can handle the exception and error. So it's based on your logic flow. Now we have to use the session. Okay, so we have a separate session, separate video on the session. But if we want to add some parameter in the flash, so this is the flash errors, and then whatever the message, this is the message, and you can read that flash only one time. Okay, and so this is just put into the session. Okay, so next thing, request and response object. So when we use the request object, we have a lot of possibilities. So let's add the request. That should be the foundation. So when I put the request, so what is in the request actually? I can read the query string. Okay, so read query string dollar $2 equal to equal dot query equal to get. Okay, so this is the, if there is no any parameter, then that will be read the default. So let's check that. Echo exit. Check that. So first of all, let's run the route, whatever the route we want to product. So nothing is there. Equal to symphony, and we got that parameter. Okay, so same way, if we pass some parameter in the post or get in the post as a post parameter, then you can get it something like that. Okay, but right now we cannot test that because we are not sending any request. Okay, so this is how we can read that. Now there is also header parameter. So let's check that which header parameter we have. Okay, so this is the request that we send. Yeah, and let's check that. Oh, okay, request header. So these are the header parameter. So let's try to read one of the header parameter. So user agent equal to dollar request of headers of get. So this is how very simple it. Okay, and if there is no any parameter exist, then we can make it blank. Okay, let's check that is the exist. When I refresh this, it will be print the whatever the header parameter we have. So what we learn, we can learn query string by query from the query bag. We can read any post variable from the request. We can read the headers like that. So let's check what are the other parameter exist in the request. So we have attributes, cookies, files. Okay, header that we already see, query that we already see, request that we already see, and then server parameter. We can also get the server parameter. Suppose I want to get all query string. Okay, so how we can get that? All equal to dollar request of query of all, that will be written as a array. Okay, so same way we can read all header parameter or other or all request parameter or all header parameter. Let's print this and confirm what kind of parameter we are getting. Let's check that. See, we got all the header parameter that exist. So this is how we can use the request object. Okay, now let's try to understand the uh, response object. So when we use the response, that normally either we can send that as a HTML that currently we are sending. See, this is the basic HTML that we render as a twig template and send as a HTML. But if we want to send a JSON, then also we can use that. So let's try to create the one API that read the, so we can convert this as a API. So let's check that. So we have a block object. Okay, and instead of return the normal HTML as a response, let's send that as a JSON. So for that we have a helper function that already created like that, so we can make it something like that. So now I want to pass the ID of the block, so let's use that block of get ID. Then I want to send the name, okay, then dollar block of get name, okay, and also I want to pass the slug, okay, so let's pass the slug, okay. So this is how we can send the JSON response. So let's try to understand. See, we have a JSON. So when we just we can confirm that by the response header content type is application slash. This is how we can send the JSON. Suppose I want to send that as a XML. So yes, we can send that as a XML. Just create a new response, new response, paste it, and just create some XML. Or we can render view and from the twig file. That is also possible. So it just should be some XML. Let's or equal to 9. This sample XML, and then we can pass that to here, and then we have to pass that as a set, okay, headers and set header, and it's a type header. Okay. So let's check that. Let's return this, and then we can see this is a sample XML. We have a, so this is how it return the XML. So what we learn, how to what we can get from the request object. We can read parameter, header parameter, server parameter, query string, and request. That is, we send parameter from the in the post. Then the response can be HTML response. That content type we normally the default. How to send JSON and how to send the XML. Now there is a one thing. A lots of time we have to read the custom parameter from the configuration file. So see, we have here we have a service file. Let's define the, suppose I want to send email by some API. So email key is here, email API key is here, and that should be read in the project and then use to send the email. So let's check how we can get that. So API key equal to this of get parameter. Okay, this is how we can get it. Okay, just get parameter. This is the function that read the key and return the related value. So exit. Just stage that by entering the product. See, this is the API key. But in the big project we are not added all parameter here. So later we in the next couple of video we will learn how to create a separate parameter as a separate files and include that in the service file, so we can structurize and organize the all the YML file also, like a service file or parameter file, anything, and we will define that in the environment file and then access that over here. So this is how we can do in actual project, but right now we have to just the learn the concept. This is the one way, or we can add the parameter tag interface. This, okay. This is the another way. Okay, and then instead of this we can use the parameter of get. Just check that. So this is how we can read the all the parameter, and then JSON response that we already learned. Okay, and then at last I want to just show if I want to see all the auto-write services. So I can learn this command and it lists out the all auto-write. For example, I want to use the we have used the logger. So let's check that logger. See, this is the interface that we use. PHP logger. There are lots of logger available. So this is how we can see the services. So see, when I use the actual terminal, the original my Eclipse terminal is terminated. Because of that, I control always avoid to run that command in the terminal. Okay, so let's conclude that. So what is the controller? The controller is basically read the request object, create the response and send it. So it can be send the HTML response, JSON response, XML response, file response, or redirect. Also, the structure is simple as a class with the route definition. So it's a simple PHP classes. So we can use the generate URL function to generate the URL for any URL. Suppose I want to create the route, I want to redirect to another route or redirect to another URL, then we use the redirect route and redirect function. Then suppose I want to render as a template and send as output, so we can use render. So that will be render template as well as send the response for that. Then render view, that will be render the complete template and send us as a string, HTML string. Okay, then how we can learn how to include the services, just existing service in the Symfony as well as user defined services, how we can import that in the controller function and that automatically added by the Symfony container. Then we learn how to handle the exception. So we use the create not found. If not found, if you are dealing with some roles, then you can use the accept denied exception while you are coding, or if you not conclude anything, then use the exception. So we can add value in the session with the add flash, and there is only one chance that we can get it. Then request and response object, yes, we can read the query string, then request parameter, header parameter, server parameter file from the request object. Yes, we learn the response and JSON response, and then access the parameter using the get parameter helper function, as well as we use the parameter block back. So this is the all about the controller. In the next couple of video, we will learn the a new concept. So if you want more video from me, then please subscribe my channel by click on the click icon, and you will get the notification when I upload the new video. Also, if you want new video from some topic, then comment to my video, mention your topic, and I will try to create the video on that topic. Thank you.